Overnight, the FBI delivered its additional background work on Judge Kavanaugh to Capitol Hill. Senators and a handful of staffers are allowed to view it starting this morning. Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley went first about an hour ago. Ranking member Dianne Feinstein is scheduled to view it moments from now, and Republicans are next at 10 a.m. and Democrats will be following at 11. But we have been saying this all week, that the real focus is on just 5 Republicans: Jeff Flake, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and Democrats Joe Manchin and Heidi Heitkamp. That's 5 votes in total. Remember, if all the Democrats vote no on Kavanaugh, 2 more no votes from Republicans would sink his nomination. Of course, if either Heitkamp or Manchin vote yes, that gives Republicans a little more breathing room. Now back to the report. It is technically just a supplement to the original background investigation into Judge Kavanaugh. It includes 302 forms. They just summarize interviews the FBI did with a number of people. But there is no conclusion about who may be telling the truth. Nevertheless, there is so much concern about possible leaks that the report is being held in a secure room in the basement of the Capitol. And here's the thing, it is just on paper, not being emailed, and it cannot leave the Capitol. There are no additional copies. According to NBC, quote, the information in the background investigation file is not marked top secret or classified, but it is not to be leaked or even characterized. One committee aide says senators are not allowed to share any details whatsoever. In other words, it will not be made public, even though many senators say it probably should be.
At this point, my presumption would be that the FBI report should be made public.
These are not normal times, and I think the public needs to know how extensive the FBI investigation was.
If there was some way for us to be able to present this to the public, I just think it'd be helpful to everyone.
I do think a summary of the report that doesn't identify specific individuals or allegations, I do think in the interest of transparency, it would be appropriate for the FBI or the Senate to release a report like that.
As for what is actually in the report, we only know very little. Sources briefed on the investigation tell NBC the FBI interviewed a total of 9 people. We know the names of 6. Mark Judge, Leland Kaiser, P.J. Smith were allegedly at the party where Dr. Christine Blasey Ford says she was assaulted. Tim Gaudette and Chris Garrett were high school classmates of Brett Kavanaugh around the time of the alleged assault. And Deborah Ramirez, she is accusing Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct when they were students at Yale. We do not know the names of the other 3. A source tells NBC that the White House has concluded the interviews do not corroborate sexual misconduct allegations against Brett Kavanaugh. But one person who was not interviewed was Dr. Ford herself. Last night, her attorneys released a statement saying, quote, we're profoundly disappointed that after the tremendous sacrifice Dr. Ford made coming forward, those directing the FBI investigation were not interested in seeking the truth. NBC has learned that the White House felt there was no need to interview Ford because it got all the information it needed from her Senate testimony. So where does all of this leave us? It means we may just be 48 hours or so from a final vote on Judge Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation to the Supreme Court. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, he has been saying all week long that he wants a vote on Friday. And last night, he put the wheels in motion. As it stands, it looks like a vote to cut off debate on Kavanaugh's confirmation could come tomorrow. That would mean a final vote Saturday.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.